everyone, and welcome to your podcast, Own Your Health. And today I am going to be sharing on what high blood pressure is and what the causes are. And of course, I am your host, Okweoluwa. So what exactly is high blood pressure? High blood pressure is also known as hypertension. Hyper means high and tension means the force. So it's actually saying it's the tension, the high tension with which blood flows through the blood vessels. It's actually a condition in which the force of the blood against the walls of the arteries is consistently high. Now, when there's so much force on something, what does it do? It damages. So the blood pressure that is consistently high tends to damage the arteries and the walls of the arteries. So blood pressure is usually measured in millimeters of mercury, which is called mmHg, and is given in two numbers. You have the systolic pressure, which is the pressure when the heart is beating. They take that pressure when the heart is beating, and it's over diastolic pressure. This is the pressure when the heart is at rest between beats. The heart beats regularly, but there is always an interval of rest between each between beats. So normal pressure is generally considered to be around 120/80 mmHg. Okay, and hypertension is said to occur when you have a higher blood pressure of about 130/80 or higher. Some people really go as high as 190. So, and that is very, very dangerous. So let us look at what are the causes of high blood pressure. Why do people develop high blood pressure? Okay, now I want to talk about primary hypertension. Primary hypertension is also known as essential hypertension. And for most adults, when you have essential high blood pressure, it simply means that there is no identifiable cause of this high blood pressure. It just starts. And this type of high blood pressure is called primary, and it usually tends to develop gradually over many years. Now, the second type of hypertension is called the secondary hypertension. Now, some people have high blood pressure caused by an underlying condition. So there is a cause for this. It's not something that just happened. There's an underlying condition that is causing this. So that is why it's known as secondary hypertension. And this one tends to appear suddenly and causes higher blood pressure than the normal primary or essential hypertension. The levels are usually very, very high. So secondary, the causes or various causes or conditions that can actually cause this secondary hypertension include: one, kidney disease. Conditions like renal artery stenosis, or, and it's a big word, when you're not a scientific person, is glomerulonephritis, which has to, with the nephrons, and can cause high blood pressure. So when you have conditions, kidney disease can lead to high blood pressure, and high blood pressure can lead to kidney disease. Secondly, adrenal gland tumors. When there are tumors on the adrenal gland, it can lead to high blood pressure. Another condition that can cause secondary high blood pressure is thyroid disorders. Both hyperthyroidism, where you have an overactive thyroid, and hypothyroidism, where you have an underactive thyroid, can result in high blood pressure. So people with high blood pressure who don't seem to know what is causing it should also check their thyroid function. Another cause is obstructive sleep apnea. Now, this sleep disorder causes your breathing to repeatedly stop and start during sleep, and a lot of people suffer from this. And this particular condition can actually lead to secondary hypertension. Another cause could be congenital defects. Some people are born with defects that can now trigger high blood pressure in later years. Okay, and then would you believe that certain medications that we take, certain prescription drugs, can actually raise blood pressure? Not only prescription drugs, even drugs that you buy over the counter, that you buy innocently for that cough or the cold, can actually lead to high blood pressure as a side effect. So let's look at some of them. Birth control pills can lead to high blood pressure. That's why if you have high blood pressure and you want to start taking the pill, you have to let your doctor know. Your doctor it has to be under the doctor. So birth control pills can actually raise blood pressure. Some cold remedies that we buy can raise blood pressure. So if you have somebody with high blood pressure, you have to be careful about those cold remedies that you buy, especially those that contain decongestants in them. Decongestants can do that, okay? And regular decongestants can actually raise blood pressure. So normal over-the-counter painkillers like the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen, can actually raise blood pressure. Okay, most other NSAIDs are not usually sold at the counter, but the ones that you can get like diclofenac and other ones that you get under the doctor can also raise your blood pressure. Some other prescription drugs that can also do this, apart from painkillers, include antidepressants. Some antidepressants actually raise our blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure and you are taking antidepressants, then you need to know that it's going to be aggravating it. Or if you're on antidepressants and your blood pressure just suddenly rises, that means that the antidepressants are actually the cause of your high blood pressure. Okay, some illegal drugs can also cause high blood pressure, things like cocaine and amphetamine. Another cause could be chronic alcohol consumption. When you are a heavy drinker, over a long period of time, it can damage the heart. A damaged heart is also going to, lead to high blood pressure. Now, some hormonal disorders can actually raise our blood pressure. Some conditions such as Cushing's syndrome, where your cortisol levels are too high. Now, cortisol is the inflammatory hormone, and when the levels are too high, it can cause high blood pressure. And so I've mentioned 9 different things, 9 different conditions that can actually cause secondary hypertension. Next week, I'm going to be talking about what are the things that we can do naturally to reverse high blood pressure, because I have clients that have successfully, reversed their high blood pressure. One even actually, shared his testimonial with me today. He was so excited to say, I have a testimony to share with you. My blood pressure has gone down. He was at about 198/130 or so, and his blood pressure went down. So it is possible to actually reverse high blood pressure, but it's going to entail the diligence, determination, hard work, and focus, and it's going to entail lifestyle changes, dietary changes, and even some supplements. So it is doable. So I hope this particular podcast has actually given you some information to help you look into reasons why you have high blood pressure and what and begin to look at the root causes and see what you can do to actually reverse this. So next week I'll be looking at another part of high blood pressure. What can we do to reverse high blood pressure, because it is actually reversible. So I will catch you next week, and I would like, if you enjoyed this podcast, please share with other people, so that because there at least 1.3 billion people in the world suffer from high blood pressure, and at least 10 million people die yearly as a result of this disease. So please look out for my next podcast, and also share this one with other people, because a lot of people are suffering from it, and it will be doing them so much good to learn how they can reverse this horrible condition. Catch you next week. Bye.